That's why we decided to put it up because folks on the live radio show when they're watching during the live broadcast of Armed American Radio, they like the sausage, Kerrie. In between, all the crap that goes on in between the breaks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you're watching, you get to see all that stuff. It's kind of like, remember the old satellite days, Kerrie? Because you and I are unfortunately old enough to remember, people had satellite dishes in their yards. Remember that?
Yep.
And those folks could watch the actual satellite feed of like Dan Rather doing the news and getting his makeup and bitching out at everybody. he didn't like it. So what do you think? You gonna get your camera up? We good?
I don't know. It just completely shut off. I'm unplugging it and plugging it back in, which now I know I have to buy a new one. So let's see.
Yeah. Let's see. Test these streams out for everybody.
Can't get it back on. All right. We're working it.
Well, you'll get it.
So
You'll get it. You'll see it. Okay, and we're just playing with this live stream. I don't expect any viewers out there. Let's get Facebook up live and see what happens there. It doesn't like being live.
I don't know. I've never had a problem.
I don't know. She didn't say. I don't know. She didn't say. I don't know. He didn't say. And yeah, what we're eventually going to have here, guys, is Unholstered and Unhinged with Mark Walters, and it will be raw, Kerrie. It will be raw with no FCC control, so I can say what I want, which it's not going to be gratuitous language or anything like that, but if I feel like calling Representative Swalwell a bitch, I will do that.
Here you go.
And he pretty much is. So there we go with that. And
yeah, it's not wanting to come on. That is very odd.
I hate when that happens.
Yes. So I'm going to continue working on this, and I do like the split screen. This is pretty cool. Actual recording is higher quality.
Need you to get that camera back up.
I know. It's like it's not even like recognizing that I even have a camera, which is very strange.
Kerrie has something that's broke.
Well, at least it's not me.
That's okay. That's okay because we have, let me just test these as well. All right, those devices seem to be working fine. We just need to get your face back up there.
Okay, troubleshooting.
Hey, we got 5 Twitter viewers. How you doing, Twitter viewers? You're watching us live test today, which is kind of cool. Huh?
And I'm trying to get my camera up.
We're using Kerrie Ann Auclair as a guinea pig today. She lovingly said, "Sure, I'll do it with you tomorrow." Last night, late. We were up late, weren't we? Midnight? 11?
I think almost 1 o'clock.
Was it 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yep. It's all
That
good.
happens,
All right, I see my camera, so let me go back to where you
Kerrie
are.
sees her camera.
I see my camera on my computer.
Yeah,
I just
good.
tested it, but it's not. It just does not want to
It's okay.
work with this. Is it a setting on my end? Oh, wait a minute.
Sounds like she's making progress, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh no, that's like the last picture.
All right, so we've got everything looking good here. We didn't want to record for it, ladies and gentlemen. We wanted to get it out live as we tested it, so. Looks like Rumble's up, Facebook is up, X is up. That means YouTube is up. And
Can you see me?
Armed American Radio is up. And yeah, you're back. There you go.
I had to refresh the whole thing.
There's Kerrie Ann Auclair. She had to refresh everything. Wave. So there
Yay,
you
we
go.
did
So
it.
you're our guinea pig today, Kerrie, and we're nothing specific really to talk about other than I just want you to tell people what you do and and all that fun stuff, and how you got into what you do.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of offshoot from there because you're behind the blue wall. You're up in. And guys, this is not just guns here. We'll talk everything, life hacks, whatever we want to do. But we are, for those of you who watch the radio program, I am constrained by the FCC on the nation's airwaves on hundreds of radio stations. And the FCC, well, you can't say a lot of things that you want to say. Goofy rules. If you have politicians on, you have to offer, depending on the network and what the rules are.
Yeah, I can't
all
even
this other
imagine
crap.
what you must go through. And
Well, it's tough sometimes because when you're talking about subjects that you get emotional about, you really care about. Sometimes I'll put it this way: my mother is shocked that I haven't gotten thrown off the airwaves in 17 years because of something that I've said. Because and you know me, right? We're very passionate about what we do and what we talk about. It's not a show; it's the
right.
real deal. And you've spoken at a number of events, and you get up there and all nervous and worried about, am I going to do good? And you always do because you know what you're talking about. But anyway, so just introduce yourself.
Yeah. So thank you again for letting me be your guinea pig. So
And
my
you
name
are,
is.
ladies, just she is.
Yeah.
This is really truly a live test. So
Yep, and I obviously need a new camera, so now I know. So my name is Kerrie Ann Auclair, and I've been doing this since almost 10 years now. So started as a firearm instructor, and then realized the importance of training, and then all of a sudden women started approaching us and wanting to get trained by another woman. So I started the Armed Women of America shooting chapter again almost 10 years ago, and then from that point joined. Back then it was the DC project,
yeah.
and yeah, and so
Well, DC Project started, of course, with Diana Muller, right?
yep. So Diana
And
Muller is the founder of the DC project, now known as Women for Gun Rights, and my camera's back off, but I'm going to keep talking. Um, and so it
it's
was.
okay. That's why it's a test. It's
That's
okay.
right. It's a test. So it ended up being that it just led me into one thing to another thing, and now I work for Gun Owners Action League. So I'm the outreach director, women's program assistant. So I go out and train women, and not only train women for how to shoot a firearm and to be comfortable and confident, but I also do the refuse to be a victim and pepper spray, and it's been an amazing opportunity. And then I get to meet folks like yourself, and the community has been amazing. I absolutely love the community because there are so many passionate people, so
Mm-hmm.
many patriots, and you learn from each other. Because when you go to, like, I have an amazing opportunity to go and travel to the Gun Rights Policy Conference and DC once a year, and so I get the opportunity to nationally get to meet amazing people. Um, Dick Keller, I'm on the board also for the Second Amendment Institute, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm in it. I'm in
So you're
it
in that
to
deep.
try to win it. But
In it to win it, huh? Well, let's tell people where you're at. You're in Massachusetts, and
yeah,
Massachusetts is, I'll get it out. Massachusetts is not a real gun-friendly place. In fact, politically, it's not a friendly place at all, unless you're a liberal lunatic wacko. And looks like Kerrie has dropped off. She's back in. There we go. She got her camera. Did you
yep,
reset her camera? There we go. But it's a difficult place. It's a beautiful state. That's what I hate about it so much. Is it's such a beautiful place, but politically it wrecks it for me.
right.
I don't have any fun. Now, I went up and saw Lexington and Concord and took the kids up 2 years ago when I was up broadcasting at 6 Hours, a beautiful facility up there in Manchester and, in the Manchester Portsmouth area, Exeter and all that in New Hampshire, and it's gorgeous.
It
Had
is
fun.
gorgeous.
Took them to Boston, got to see the North Side, ate at the famous pizza place up there. There's a bunch of them up there, but it had some fun. But politically, it just sucks. And I don't know what it's going to take to change Massachusetts. Other obviously new politicians,
Yeah.
but with the political makeup, the demographic in Massachusetts, that doesn't even seem plausible in my lifetime at this point. Maybe I'm wrong. You tell me.
No, I think there's a lot of people in Massachusetts that are really throwing their hands up in the air, and they're just, I'm done. Nothing's going to change. everything's going to be the same. Why do I bother fighting the fight? But if we all, that's what they want us to do, right? They want us to,
Well, sure.
they want us to back down. They want us to be like, oh, forget it. What's the point? But last Friday, Halloween, we had a big hearing at the State House, and there was tons of bills, pro and so some bills were for us and some bills were against us, and so it was great because I, being part of the women groups that I'm part of, we were able to get 10 women to testify in person, one through Zoom, and the rest were in person. And we have about a dozen more that are doing written testimonials. So, it's amazing to see that more women are starting to wake up and stand up and go to the State House and say, no more, I've had enough. This is ridiculous, and the mama bear comes out, and we have a right to protect ourselves and our family. And why are you trying to make it so hard for us? Because we're not the bad guys. They're trying to make it so it's safer communities.
Well, no, hold on a second. You are the bad guy, because you like guns, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. Because why would a mom want a gun?
Why would a woman want a gun, right?
Yes, exactly.
They're evil monsters, that they are. But I always have fun when I see you at events because I've been doing these things for well over 20 years. And, it dawned on me the other day, every time I get a response from somebody, are you going to be at SHOT this year? And I think back, shit, man, we're talking 26 SHOT shows in a row. And it's once a year, ladies and gentlemen. So, Kerrie, 26 years at SHOT. My first one was in 2000. And I think the only ones I missed were due to COVID. When that whole weird garbage, nonsense, lie, hoax, bullshit was going on.
Right.
And that was the only one I missed over all these years. And my reason for going to those shows has morphed and changed over the years for a lot of different reasons. First, it was for magazine, and it's always networking, right? But you've never been to a SHOT show yet, have you? Because we're trying to get you to go.
Not yet. I'm hoping that we get there. Mike Harris, my colleague from Goal, and I have been talking about trying to get to any national organization like events that we can go to, because it really is something to be able to go there and introduce yourself because we're small. Goal is small, considering the size of the state. We're small. We have probably over 600,000 gun owners and about 24,000 members, and that's not a lot, but from what I was told, that's pretty good percent considering. But
what's the total membership there now?
For Goal, it's 24,000.
Okay, well, let me give you an example. Let me make a comparison, okay? One of the most popular pro-gun organizations in the country is Virginia Citizens Defense League, and I don't know how familiar you are with them, but they really became the model over all the years that many states around the country have used. AZCDL is another one that's great. But just to give you a perspective, Virginia Citizens Defense League, which has right now the biggest fight, excuse me, that they've ever had with the election after Tuesday, because they're going to get the book thrown at them. The Democrats are going to pass whatever they want to pass. And Spanberger, that communist, is going to sign everything. And VCDL is going to be very important in that state right now, and they've always been really important. But the fact of the matter is that they've got 11,000 members, I believe is the last deal. 11,000 members, and it looks like Kerrie's back, so there she is.
I'm back.
There you go.
Oh, I got a camera.
VCDL has about 11,000 members.
Yep.
So you guys are more than double that in the state of Massachusetts.
Well, yeah. I guess we, if you consider that, then we're doing pretty good. It's just, I think the one thing that frustrates me more, it seems like things are dropping, and I don't know if it's because Trump's in office, but it seems like things have changed. People have put their guard down. They're not fighting as hard still. Mm-hmm. And I'm not exactly sure if that's true or why that's happening, but
no, it is true.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because you get a lot of gun owners here in Massachusetts hear what's going on. They have no clue, and I'm off again.
We can hear you. You're good. No, but it is. The industry is down right now in some circles as much as 40%. And if you get out to any gun shops, which you do, and ranges, I don't know if you see the same thing you see here, but I have two local shops here that are down to bare bones compared to what they were.
Right.
You know, this is the worst I've ever seen it. We've been through this before. You know, it ebbs and flows. But you've got a quote unquote, and we do, a very friendly gun rights administration, and we don't have fear. We can't sell fear, right? Let's be real. It's easy to sell things when the Democrats are coming and coming and coming for your guns all day long, and people know that, okay? Because they are. That's what Democrats do. If you live in Virginia, you're getting ready to face an onslaught like you've never seen before. Get ready to be California of the East Coast, because it's coming. It's going to happen. And there's not much you're going to be able to do about it, excuse me, except to get extremely active in these organizations like you have in Massachusetts. And let's just be flat out bullshit right up front. No bullshit, honest. How effective has it been? Right. You've got Democrats in total control up there. They hate your guts, okay? So really the question to ask is, where would you be if there was no goal in Massachusetts? That's how you're going to have to judge success.
Yeah, that's true. Because honestly, I don't know. Because there are other organizations like Com2A and the Civil Rights Coalition, but goal seems to be, you know, and has always been kind of like the number one organization to try to fight the fight. And the other organizations, you know, are right behind us. They're right there working with. We all work together. You know, we all have our. I don't even want to know what I'm trying to explain, but we're all working together. But if goal wasn't around, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. What would we be doing?
Well, I mean, let me ask you this. You've been able to stop things, right? See, success in places, when you live behind the blue wall like you do, and millions of Americans do, Virginia is now firmly behind that wall. Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey. You know, something about you guys in the Northeast. I don't know what it is. Okay, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. You know, with few exceptions. You know, Maine is fairly decent. Vermont, okay. All right, New Hampshire, obviously. But when you get down to southern New England, something changes, right? But if you're anywhere behind that blue wall, your success is judged, and this is a great time to point out that this is what's getting ready to happen in Virginia. Their success will be judged on how many shitty things they can stop.
Right.
Not by how many great things they move forward, but by how many shitty things they can stop.
Yeah. And Goal has done a lot of amazing things over the years to stop stuff, for sure. Right. It's this Chapter 135 is really the most egregious thing I've ever seen since I've been doing this for almost 10 years. I've never seen anything like it. And we've been fighting so hard. And they truly honestly think that this law is going to make safer communities. And it blows my mind. You know the story about Kyle Collada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, think about this. This poor couple heading from their state where they were legally able to have a firearm, coming through Massachusetts, trying to get to New Hampshire, living out of their car, literally, and realized they needed money to get there. So they started door dashing, and it was a traffic violation. I don't even know if I think it was a registration or a tag that was expired. That's why they got pulled over. He said, I have firearms in the car. Next thing you know, he's in jail for almost, I think, over 100 days. You know, in the meantime, they were considering him a dangerous person, but at the same time, you start Googling what's happening in Massachusetts, and these people are being let out back on the street constantly. Drugs, arrested for drugs, illegal firearms, and more, and yet they're let back out in the street again. Then this poor guy, Kyle, was in jail over 100 days. He finally got bail, and he's still fighting, you know, because this is not done.
What kind of guns was he, was he caught with? What, you know, because I guarantee what he had is legal here. Why was he locked up? What did he have in the car?
I don't remember exactly the specifics on what he had in the car, but I know there was a long gun in question because it was definitely not something that we were able to possess here in Massachusetts.
All right, so let's go there for a second because I knew that's where you were going to go. That was a setup, by the way. That's what we call that. We set you up. Clearly an AR-15 of some sort, and that's illegal in Massachusetts to have, correct?
You can have an AR-15, but it has to be pre-ban, and now with the new law that went through, you have to possess, it has to be owned within Massachusetts before August 1st. So a lot of the FFLs went out and bought a bunch of pre-ban ARs on purpose so we could still get them because it was purchased and owned within Massachusetts before August 1st. So there's so much involved with this law. It's just crazy. And honestly, your head would spin. I mean, you can go to Goal's website, so Goal, GOAL.org, and click on chapter 135, and it literally breaks it down for you in sections so you can
Mhm.
understand it. But even then, we find as we go forward, there's certain things that come up. We're like, oh, okay, so let's go back up. Let's re-review the law again and see if we can interpretate this properly because it keeps changing. The interpretation they don't even understand. So, how we expect to understand it when law enforcement can't even understand what they're looking at. So,
Yeah.
going
Look,
back to to
I don't know how you live like that. No, I'm serious. I'm not bullshitting. I don't know how you live like that. I could not live like that. I could not live in a state where I can't be free, where I can't be, and I hate to say this. I took the kids up, you just mentioned, to Lexington and Concord a couple years back. And I say this, you know, I'm being honest, but Massachusetts has lost the right. If we could dig that hallowed ground up and move it to a free state where it belongs, I would feel better about it, because Massachusetts has completely lost its way, and I feel like doesn't even deserve to have that hallowed ground there at Lexington and Concord anymore.
no, it was it
Not for what those individuals fought and died for on both sides, by the way.
no,
Okay.
and if you think about it, 77 men stood on that field.
Yeah.
77 men stood on that field 250 years ago and said no more. And they fought and they won. And so think about that, 77. So why
What
can't
did they
we?
win? Let's go here. What did they win for Massachusetts?
What did they win? What, 250 years ago?
Yeah, they won their liberty and their freedom. And
Yes.
look at Massachusetts today.
I know. They would be literally rolling in the graves.
Of
They
course they
they would
would be.
be like what is going on? How could you allow this to happen? We fought, people died. How could you allow that to happen? And I think that's the sad part.
So we bear some responsibility for that, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because and people don't like to hear this, but it's true. We bear responsibility for that. We continued. We allowed this shit to happen in Massachusetts. We can't sit back and go, well, they did it to us. No, they didn't. There was a lot of complacency on our side for Massachusetts to get where it got, Kerrie.
Right.
And not just Massachusetts, not just picking on Massachusetts, but that's the state
Well,
we're
right
talking about
now
right now where you're at.
it's we're we're under the microscope. Everybody sees what's going on here in Massachusetts. And um it's when we did the petition ballot about what, almost, God, it feels like it was forever, but maybe a year and a half ago or so.
Hmm.
And we did the petition ballot. I was absolutely pretty surprised how many people that went up to the table and said, "What is this for?" Oh, of course I'm going to sign it. I can't sign it because I'm not a registered voter. What? Why? Why are you not a registered voter? This is why we are not going to win, because people don't trust the ballot box. They don't trust what their they don't trust that their vote is actually going to be counted for properly. And that's what they want us to think. So we won't go to the ballot box. We will not vote the right way. We got to vote these people out. And we got to
You
vote
can't
the
vote them
people
out if you're
in.
not registered to vote. And why is that person even at a meeting if they're not registered to vote?
Oh
You know?
yeah, well a lot of times they were like we were at like fairs or stuff like that with a petition table set up, and that's where your eyes really started opening. But we also got people to register to vote because they were so mad about this, they wanted to sign the petition. So I'm hoping uh, in November 2026, which we got the question on the ballot, people are going to show up. And how do we talk out of the echo chamber? That is the question I have. Is how do you get people to show up at the ballot box and say, "Oh, I got to vote on this because it's a civil right issue. It's going against the Constitution. And I may not own guns, but if they take this away from us, what other constitution are they going to take away from us? What other, amendment are they going to demolish?" So, how do we get people that are not in our community to wake up and realize that this is an issue for all of us to be concerned about?
Yeah, and it's not just the gun rights issue either. It's freedom itself
Yeah.
that's on a ballot. And look, we're facing here in the state of Georgia. I tell you, we're a bright red state. We are. And who are my two senators? goofball John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Okay, we gave you thanks. You can thank me for that later. You don't have to thank me. I didn't vote for those two clowns. But here you got a bright red state, and you got these two goofball far left senators from the state of Georgia. John Ossoff's in trouble this year, but the Democrats are spending a ton of money to infiltrate. They're working hard on Georgia. They're working hard on Texas. Okay, Florida. They might as well just pull their money out right now. There's a lot of people that live in Massachusetts that now live in Florida or used to live in Mass.
Oh yeah, people
they're fleeing like crazy.
Yep.
And here's the problem: that's a double-edged sword. Because you tell people, just get the hell out. Move. Okay, great. See if you're in a position to do that. And what happens when you leave?
You're going to leave us behind.
You're leaving you behind, and now there's nobody else to fight that fight. But here's what I got to tell you. And I'll just be right up front with this. The nation is divorcing right before our eyes. 100% right before our eyes. It won't be long, I believe this, short of another civil war, okay, which nobody wants. You're watching blue states retreat. Here's my point. Just secede, Democrats. Get out. If you hate it so much, retreat. Go back to your states. If you want to, give people 6 months. If you want to stay, stay. If you don't, get the hell out, right?
Right.
Show me your papers again. It'll be like living between North Korea. It'll be like the difference. Your blue states will be like North Korea's. Red states will be like South Korea. Free. Open.
Right.
Blue states will be run by commies. Let them.
Right.
And that's about where we're That's about where we're going. And it was Neil McCabe that said that on the Armed American Radio broadcast a number of years ago. That it's probably the best thing that can happen to the country. Look, you can't let the cat's out of the bag. You can't get it back in. The genie's out of the bottle. You've lifted up the grill lid. The grill smoke has escaped. You can't gather it back up and put it back in the grill. Okay. Do you see the two sides shaking hands anytime soon? Honestly, not going to happen.
Nope.
The hatred is getting deeper and deeper and deeper by the minute. And I say hatred, I mean hatred.
Yeah.
Okay?
And
I hate their politics. I want nothing to do with them, and I will not live under their politics. Now, fortunately for me, unfortunately for others, I have the ability, if I really want to, I can pack my shit up and do my radio program from anywhere in the world I want to do it from.
Yeah.
I don't have to be here.
I don't want to say I'm stuck here because it sounds like I want to leave. I am refusing to leave. Mm-hmm. I do not want to leave. I'm not going to let them push me out. That's not how this is going to play for me. I'm going to show up at the State House. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep trying to get as many ladies to show up and be a voice. And I'll tell you, I've never, ever, ever seen anything like it in my life and I haven't been doing this very long, and I've never seen that room. It was 85% of us in that room. I don't think they knew what to do with us because every single time someone got up and testified, which you don't normally see,
right.
They got claps, they got woos, they got yeah, and they didn't know what to do with us. But the ignorant people that are sitting up there in that committee that have no clue about anything related to guns, they don't understand what a magazine is. Mm-hmm. How can they sit there and tell us they're trying to make safer communities by restricting us of our rights and making it so difficult that people probably don't know that they're even a criminal. They're a felon just walking out of the house because they are unaware of the new law. So it blows my mind, but it also puts a spark underneath me to get there and show up.
Yeah, and then do you ever feel discouraged?
I do feel discouraged, but I have to show up.
Does it ever get you to a point? Do you ever get to a point where you go, God, why the fuck am I doing this?
Sometimes.
Why am I doing this? It's not making a difference. Do you ever feel that way? Because I used to ask Diana Muller all the time, still do. Anytime she's on the show, I ask her this question all the time. When you go into Democrats' offices in Washington, D.C., you've been there in D.C.
Oh, yeah.
Do they listen to you? Do they really give a shit what you're saying? They don't listen to you. They hate you. All they're doing is what they have to do so they can say that they met with you. You're not.
Yep.
Nothing's getting through to these people.
No.
It's like watching a congressional hearing. It's a dog and pony show. A bunch of loudmouth, blathering idiots.
Yeah.
And they're not listening to anything. And they're not
No,
going to ever. So does that discourage you to a point where you just at some point want to throw your hands up and go, I'm out?
no. Believe it or not, no. It actually makes me want to fight harder. Because
I applaud you for that,
yeah,
by the
and
way.
and there's got to be.
That's not easy to do.
No, it's not easy to do because like I will be honest when this it changed numbers I think 6 times, and then when it became law, I remember sitting home and just crying
Yeah.
and just totally breaking down and saying, this just didn't happen. Are you kidding me? No, this did not happen. But it made people more pissed off and woke a lot of people up that had no clue what was going on. And I'm like, they have no idea what they just did. They just woke up a beast because people are now, I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
that hearing room was amazing. I
I
walked
want to
out of that
believe
hearing
you.
room so proud, and I have it on video. I'm actually creating a video a clip of all the ladies that testified because it just made me so proud. I walked out of that room just so proud of these ladies. They were there. A couple of them, 3 of them were domestic violence survivors,
Hmm.
and you can tell they were so scared to tell their story. They were so scared to even speak. And I'm just sitting there smiling, going, "You got this.
Yeah.
This is amazing." And that's what we have to feel. We have to have that passion, that fuel, the mission, and especially when a woman gets up there. And I'm not, you know, saying that the men that didn't testify weren't amazing. They all were. We all were amazing. We showed up, and we need to be proud of that.
Hmm.
But when you put a woman up there, it just creates this whole different level of, I don't even know what the word I want to use. It softens it up maybe. It's they don't expect us. They don't expect us to be in front of them saying, "I'm a lawyer, I'm a mom, I'm a nurse. I'm a domestic violence survivor. I was involved in a crime,
Hmm.
you know, and I refuse to be a victim." And when you put a firearm on my hip, it creates an equalizer. And some of them sit there and you can see they're like, "Oh, I never thought of that." Yes, because you never talked to us. You need to talk to us. And you didn't. You ignored us. So we're here. We're going to show up.
We're here, and it reminds me of another famous one. We're here. What? I'm not even going to go there. I hope that you're right. I really do. I mean, I would like to believe that it woke up the beast. But it's we've just seen it so many times over the years that a lot of it becomes temporary, and complacency kills. Too many people in states like that just don't give a crap. They go about their life. They like their life. Things are great, and I understand that. They don't want to get involved politically. I'm happy. I don't really give a shit. I'm a gun owner. I have my gun. I don't need another one. I'm okay. So I
Yeah.
don't really care. It's like me saying I don't care what happens in Massachusetts because I don't live in Massachusetts. I better care what
Right.
happens in Massachusetts. I'm deeply concerned about what's getting ready to happen in the state of Virginia. You can't ignore that because the blueprint of these states is what they want for the rest of the nation.
Right. It's going to trickle to one state to the next state to the next state. If
It
we
already
can't,
has.
yep. And if we don't protect it, we don't try to work together, it's not gonna change. You just made me think of something when you were talking just a minute ago. You said there are, okay, back up. There's a lot of people that I find it's fun. There's people that come to me and say that the law doesn't affect them, so there's nothing for them to testify for. And I try to explain to them that it may not, you may not think it affects you, but it does. I promise you, it does.
Well, that's your complacency right there.
Yep.
And that complacency kills because, I mean, and then you've got, a lot of different demographics, right? You got a lot more going on the Cape than you do, in other areas of the state. There are conservative areas of Massachusetts. And on top of all that, you've got a lot of believers. You've got a lot of communist believers, Marxist, socialist, Democrats up there that really believe that that's the way the country should be.
Yeah, they're getting brainwashed.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to change their mind. See, they think you're brainwashed, right?
Yeah.
Even though we know we're right. And we can prove that time and time and time again through our policies, et cetera. Right? Nothing but theory. And if you want proof of that, simply look at what happened during the Biden years, okay? As much as I hate to say this, it's true. But the country had to suffer through 4 years of Biden. I'm glad Trump, in hindsight, I'm glad Trump did not win back-to-back elections. His second term, after his first term, immediately after his first term, would have been nothing like what he's been able to accomplish right now. The media would have gone after him, the Democrats, who knows what would have happened? How many more impeachments, assassination, who knows? All right? But this country had to experience what happened with Joe Biden so that we could feel the pain and say, okay, this is bullshit. I don't want to live like this.
Right.
Okay, I'm not going through another 4 years of this. We got to vote these people out of power, and that's what happened. And how did the Dems respond? They went farther to the left.
Right.
And they're continuing to go farther to the left. And, like the name of the podcast we're testing today that will be live, we'll make the announcement when we drop it officially, ladies and gentlemen, coming up in the next few weeks. But we are at the testing point now. But it is unhinged and unholstered, right? That's kind of the way they are. TDS is very, very real. I don't know if you've seen Jimmy Kimmel's wife crying and moaning and, about how she can't believe that she has family that voted for Trump. And, they're just a family of wacko lunatics. Apparently they believe in the cause. I have a couple family members like that as well.
Me too. I have family members that won't talk to me anymore because, I'm a Trump supporter and, I have guns and why would I do what I'm doing?
So ask yourself this question. What difference does that make to them? What do they care?
I don't know. I really truly think they're brainwashed to think and believe that we are the evil ones. We are the ones that are, with the tinfoil hats and we're just lunatics. And I said something to my father when I finally, I want to say, came out of the closet, so to speak, when I decided to open up the
Is
women's...
there something we need to know, Kerrie? Not that there's anything wrong with that, okay?
No, not that there's anything wrong with that. But when I came out of the closet, or I came out and said, I am a gun owner and I am going to run this woman's shooting chapter, my father said to me, well, I don't feel like I need a gun. Well, all right, Dad. That's your decision, and I respect that. He's a Vietnam vet, and in my opinion, the word gun is his PTSD, and I get it. And so I respect that. And he said, well, I don't feel like I'm in fear and I don't need to protect myself. I said to him, you live in Rhode Island, and did you know down the road there was a bunch of people that were trying to kidnap a mom and her daughter, and they don't believe us. They don't believe that these stories are true. And, it's okay. He finally, came to grips where this is what I do, and he's proud that I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. He may not agree with it, but I know he's accepted it. But
if you don't mind my asking, how does your dad vote?
Not for Trump.
Okay. So your dad's a Democrat?
Yes.
Okay, you poor soul. But that's okay. I've never met your dad. I'm sure he's a great guy.
He is.
But there's a difference between what you're describing with your father and other Democrats. Your dad respects what you do. He respects your passion. He respects the fact that you own guns, even though he feels he doesn't have to. There's a whole contingency of Democrats that don't. They want to attack you and take away what you have.
Yes. They don't understand. They don't agree that we should have ARs. They don't agree.
All while claiming to be the tolerant left. They're the ones that want to take your stuff away. And here it is, what you're describing is you, as the conservative Republican Trump supporter, you're the one that says to the Democrats, you don't want to own a gun, don't own a gun, that's fine.
Right. And that's what I tell people. I mean, even my students, that, take a class to get a certificate to apply for a license to carry. I tell them, and you may take this class and decide that, this is not for me at this moment. And that's okay. It's a personal choice. It's something that you need to feel comfortable with. And if you're not, the fact that you're here learning about it and understanding the world that we live in and understanding that we are not the bad guys. We are the most vetted individuals in the community. We create safer communities because we educate ourselves. We go to classes, especially women, I think, if, for me anyways, because I train mostly women, we are moms. We're grandmothers. We want to make sure that we understand everything inside and out about a firearm, the laws, the rules, regulations, to make sure that our family stays safe, but we also have the opportunity to keep them safe with a tool that we choose to put on our hip.
And why should that bother them?
I don't know. I truly think that the media has demonized the word firearms to be the word weapon when it's not until it becomes one. And so therefore it's the evil tool that we do not need. And why should we have that?
Well, the question is even bigger. Why do they give a damn what you choose to have? Now, clearly these people have never been crime victims, okay? I've lost count, literally lost count. I've written 2 books about it, Lessons from Armed America and Lessons from Unarmed America, with Kathy Jackson and with Rob Pincus. And I've lost count of how many people I've spoken to over the years who are gun owners today and have changed their tune after they were robbed.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Some of them are very lucky to be alive. And several of the stories that I've told in the books, Jorick Landry's case that I wrote about is the most god-awful criminal experience to this day that I think I've ever heard. And he was a gun owner. Fortunately, he was a gun owner. That was in the book Lessons from Armed America, by the way. And, I had a cousin who was a U.S. Navy. He's a gun rights supporter, was robbed at gunpoint while he was using his mom and dad's car, a Mustang, to go play golf one day. Took off work a little early. And he was held at gunpoint, kidnapped, taken for 7 hours. And he never thought he was going to get out. They tried to stuff him in the trunk. He refused. He said, "You can shoot me. I'm not getting in the trunk."
Good for
He
him.
was a big fat woman and a loser scumbag who wound up getting caught. The girl never got busted. The guy wound up doing 11 years. He's out now. Okay. My cousin has never left the house without a firearm since that day. And those people that have never found themselves in those positions don't understand that. And I've talked to politicians. One of them is in my book, Lessons from Unarmed America. The story of Michael DuBose, the Ohio politician from South Cleveland, who voted against Ohio's right to carry laws twice. Until he came home from Columbus, he had just gotten done with a session. And here he is. And get this, people find this really difficult to believe, that I became very great friends, to quote like Donald Trump, very great friends with a black Democrat politician in Ohio. People couldn't believe that. And Michael DuBose and I became very close friends because after he had gotten back from his session, he was just taking a walk through his neighborhood when he was
That's
accosted
crazy.
by 3 people pulled up in a car. 2 got out, chased him with firearms. He was able to make it to a neighbor's house who opened the door, started screaming, got on the phone, and one of them turned around, pointed the gun at him like he was going to shoot him, and then got back in the car and decided not to pull the trigger. Michael DuBose was alive for that reason.
Oh, jeez.
And we worked with Jim Irvine and others, Buckeye Firearms, myself, and several others. And I did an interview with Michael DuBose, and that interview is in my book, word for word, verbatim. We didn't edit anything. And Michael DuBose and I became very, very close friends. We put together a group of about 20 of his family and friends from his neighborhood after that incident that are now gun owners, and he then voted against his party and voted for Ohio's right to carry law and changed his tune because of what happened to him. It was a fascinating story. And Michael DuBose and I became so close, he would call my kids on Thanksgiving and Christmas and wish them happy birthdays and send gifts. And then he sadly, I found out months after it happened, that he had passed away.
Oh.
So, but until something like that happens to somebody, I don't wish that on anybody,
No.
nobody. But until something like that happens, you're likely not going to be able to change someone's mind. And let's be honest, there is that part of you says, God, I hope your ass gets robbed so you could, it would just make my job so much easier, wouldn't it? Get robbed, live through it, and I'm not going to have to convince you, okay? The criminal will convince you for you. And my job has become a lot easier. Obviously, I'm not wishing that, but there is a party. I mean, let's be real. You talk to some of these people, they are so stupid, they are so thick, they are so ignorant, they don't get it. Let's face it, there are some people you're never, ever, ever going to get through. And when you're arguing with somebody who is liberal, who is working off pure emotion, walk away.
Right.
You're not going to get through to that person. You got to, and I know this, as ladies and gentlemen, as you get older, you start to figure this shit out, okay? I'm not going to deal with him. That guy's a jerk. I don't want to deal with him. He doesn't respect me. I'm not going to waste my time with that person. And you move on. And that's just what you do in real life. And sadly, when it comes to politics, that's where we're at today. It used to be you could talk to the other side and, clink a glass of beer and agree not to talk any more politics and just have fun.
Right.
Or even joke about your politics and your disagreements. You can't do that nowadays. It turns into fistfights. And again, Neil McCabe on my show made it very, very clear when I was talking about a family member of mine. And, really not welcome at my house anymore, and vice versa. Don't care, right?
Right.
Really don't care. Not a great loss to me.
At one point in time, you just have to throw your hands up and say, okay, well,
yeah,
you
sometimes
do you,
you have
and
that. That's
I'm gonna do
exactly
me.
right. You have to do that. And Neil McCabe famously said on the show, think about what you're saying, Mark. If you can't even have dinner with them, how are you supposed to have a country with them?
Right.
And no truer words have ever been spoken to surmise where we are today and sum up where our politics are in this country. That's how bad it is,
So what do you think? So let's talk about moms demand action.
Well, what do you want to know?
I
first
know.
of all, let's think about that. I love saying this on the radio. Moms demand action. That's a really silly name when you think about it. Right?
I say moms demand attention.
Silly name. Change your names. No, don't change your names because it's fun to rag on you from time to time.
The moms demand attention. That's what I say.
Moms demand action. That's a silly name when you think about it.
It truly is. And I feel bad because you hear these women come up and testify, and really, I truly think, in my opinion, that they keep those poor ladies victims for their agenda.
Well, of course they do. Of course they do.
Shame on them. How disgusting is that?
All right. Well, no, you raise a great point, and let's put this in an even bigger perspective. Let's put this in the perspective of let's pick on Chicago because it's easy to do. Where are we, Chicago murder-wise today? Let me look at that real fast, and I'll give you a number because we're going to pick on them. I want to be accurate.
All right. I think I might have possibly fixed the camera, so I'm gonna try to see if I can refresh. So.
Yay for you. Oh, yay for you. Yay for Kerrie. Oh, yay for Kerrie.
Let's see.
So we're going to get those numbers for you for Chicago just because. Okay, Chicago, year to date. Do we have you back up? Looks like we might have her back up in a second, guys.
Yeah.
I don't see you.
I have my camera up. You hear me?
I can hear you just fine, but I cannot see you.
Oh, I see. I actually have a camera up. I'm looking
at
it.
There, I see you now. There you go.
Oh, let's see. Fingers crossed.
There you go. I don't see you on my screen, but I see you on the live screen, so that's interesting. Anyway, Chicago. Guys, well, like we said, we're testing. So cameras are going to go on and off on both screens as we're testing and things are being worked on. But so we're having a fun conversation with Kerrie Ann Auclair from Goals and Women for Gun Rights. But year to date, 328 people shot and killed in Chicago, 1,435 wounded, total shots 1,763. So when you say, what they do with these women, right, for their own political agenda, they keep them ignorant. That's exactly what happens in cities like Chicago with politicians. Democrats have run that city for over 100 years. They own it. Mm-hmm. They own every pull of the trigger in that city, every single one of them. There's no blame can be put on any Republican for anything that happens in Chicago, period.
Right.
Not one. And they do the same thing. The Democrats have done that to black Americans for over a century and a half.
Right.
Bold statement, but a fact. And Donald Trump woke a lot of people up and is changing that demographic. And it's also black Americans and women, by the way, who have been intentionally politically oppressed by the Democrats for decades to keep them in for one thing and one thing only, and that's their own political power. Interestingly, those are the two fastest growing
demographics
in
for gun
firearms
ownership.
ownership, as you know. Isn't it? You think that's coincidence? That is not coincidence.
No, it's not.
That is not a coincidence. So I'm glad you mentioned it in the sense that you mentioned it, because it's very, very true. It's also very sad, but at the same time, it's evil and it's sick.
It is sick because there was a woman that was testifying, and she was part of the Mom Demand Action, and
Hmm.
she lost her son from, a shooting. But what she didn't, and I was listening to her, and what she didn't mention is how. Because if she mentioned how, then she would have already answered her own question. Because it was most likely gang violence, which the individuals that did the crime had a firearm illegally. And
Yeah.
if she actually mentioned that, then why are we sitting here having this conversation at all when we are dealing with the broken system of revolving doors?
Well, I don't know. I guess I could ask the question, is the system really broken? Or is it designed to be that way? You've got liberal judges letting people out every single day
Yeah.
that are committing horrific crimes. Just a couple over the last couple of days. We had a 9-year-old girl killed by an illegal immigrant,
Oh.
illegal alien, let's call them what they are,
Mm-hmm.
who was let out by a judge,
Oh.
who then, same day, disappeared a 9-year-old or raped a 9-year-old girl. It's horrible. So is the system really broken, or is it designed to work that way? Because the liberals seem to use it to their advantage to protect the people who I guess they believe are there. I find it difficult to believe that there are Americans out there. I don't, because it happens every day. You see it every day. I do believe it. I'm not naive. I hate that it happens. But it is hard to wrap your head around the fact that there are judges and lawyers and prosecutors who don't do their jobs. There is an entire political party that embraces what the left embraces: criminal activity, illegal immigration, open borders, cashless bail, okay, all these nonsense policies. And it's all the elite, suburban women, supposedly highly educated, that live behind the gates, that nothing that they supposedly believe in affects or impacts their own lives.
Right.
Do I need to remind you, being in Massachusetts, what happened when Texas sent busloads of illegal aliens to Cape Cod? Martha's Vineyard? Do I need to remind you of what happened up there?
Yeah.
No. They locked them up and threw them the hell out, okay?
Yeah.
All while saying, sitting behind their ivory towers, that, these are people, they're human. They're criminal illegals that violated
They're
our
not
law
even
to be here.
vetted. They're not even vetted.
They don't want them in their
Unvetted,
neighborhood, not my neighborhood.
Yep.
Okay?
And then they sit there. Let's talk about this for a minute. Unvetted, unvaccinated, but yet they're trying to throw the vaccines down our throat, trying to make it mandated for the COVID shot. But, it's okay to have illegal immigrants that are unvetted and unvaccinated.
As long as it's in someone else's neighborhood. Now, I mean, you take a look at what's happening in New York City right now, which
Oh, my God.
is a mess. Again, it's a national divorce underway. And I take it personal. I used to love going to New York City. And I spent time up there when Koch was mayor, and it was the city was just an absolute shithole. There were places you did not go. There were places you locked your door to take people who came to town to visit you to go see, because it was such an abomination. The Bowery, for one. All right, we would drive up and down the Bowery and show people the bums. That's what we did.
Oh, my gosh.
Back in the 70s. You didn't go anywhere near 42nd Street. Times Square was basically off limits.
Yeah, I will not go to New York.
So now after this, I mean...
It's worse. Now it's going to be worse.
It's going to get far worse than it was under Koch and Dinkins. That's going to happen. And when that happens, you're not going to want to be anywhere near the city. But here's the deal. Much like Biden, New York is going to have to go through this to experience it. And hopefully it will change some minds. But it's not going to. It will change some. The problem is it won't change enough.
Right.
And that's why they want the illegals in New York City. That's why they want to protect them, because they know that's their, and that goes right back to what you were talking about with agenda. and women, and we were talking with Black Americans and women being held down by the Democrat Party for all these decades. That's exactly what they're doing in New York so they can keep power. It's likely that this Mamdani character is likely going to stay in that office for a total of 8 years. Unless it gets so bad that they decide to do something about it, which hopefully they will.
There was a video that I saw, and I'm curious to see if you think it was accurate, where he was stating that his religion needs to be in every single home. I don't know if this was true.
Isn't he a Muslim?
Yeah.
Well, that's likely what he believes.
And
well, here's a bold prediction: you're going to wind up seeing calls to prayer 5 times a day in New York City, just like you do in Dearborn in the near future.
Oh dear God!
You know how soon we forget who killed us on 9/11 in New York City.
Yeah.
It is remarkable.
That blows my mind even more. You know, you think about that.
Well, take a look at what happened in Seattle just yesterday. You had another commie mayor on the West Coast.
Oh, God.
So here's what that tells me. That tells me that the left is continuing to go off the rails and continuing to go far left. So they've got 2 major cities that the Democrats control all major cities, but you've got 2 of America's what used to be beautiful cities. Man, I've been to Seattle many times. It was a beautiful place. It's a shithole now. I've seen it graffitied up. I was there during COVID. It was a mess during the riots. It was a mess. In fact, I was there when I think it was Breonna Taylor, when the verdict came down, and we were moving from a private airport, driving from the private airport over to Bellevue, and SWAT vehicles were passing us like crazy with guys hanging out the back end of that thing, all doctored up.
God.
You know, in anticipation of the ruling coming out of the court case in Minneapolis. We got in and out of the city before any trouble occurred. But you look at what happens to Portland, Oregon, right?
Right.
So you've got all this far left indoctrination. The party continues to go left. Now you've got a communist, Mamdani-esque style mayor now running one of the nation's largest cities in Seattle, Washington, and you have one on the East Coast in California. So clearly the Democrats are going to have to, at some point, as a party, embrace this because they're running 2 of their bigger cities. And the fact that they don't decry it is embracing it. So they continue to go farther and farther and farther left. And as they continue to go farther and farther and farther left, they are removing themselves farther and farther away from mainstream America, hence the national divorce, which is happening right before our eyes.
It just blows my mind that New York is where they're at right now. Just absolutely blows my mind. I can't believe they voted for him. But
I can. It does. It blows my mind, but it doesn't. But it does. But it doesn't. But it does. But it really doesn't. But it does. But it doesn't. You see where I'm going with that. This is what you expect from the left. And it's always fun when I'm talking to somebody. I have a couple family members that are very far left. Not immediate family members, but cousins and, removed and all this kind of stuff that I've known all my life. And we can talk politics. We know when to stop. But it's interesting to me that every time I ask them why they're not living in those places that they defend, they're like a deer caught in a headlight.
Yeah.
They don't want to live there, but it's all good. So when you tell them, all the crime problems we're just talking about in the city of Chicago, for example, your party owns that. There's no way to argue their self out of that. They can't.
Right.
Because it's absolutely true. I'm just glad I'm not a part of that mess. Can you imagine waking up every day being liberal? I don't even know what that would feel like.
I'd go to the doctor and be like, fix me.
Wake up every morning, and wonder, can't we all just get along? Well, the answer to that is actually no, we can't all get along. We're not going to as human beings, ever.
So
we have to learn to work with our differences, and unfortunately, we're not capable of doing that anymore, sadly.
So I was talking to my daughter the other day. We were driving from school, and I said to her, in a couple years, you're going to be 18, and you're going to be able to vote. And that's pretty cool. And she goes, Mom, I don't have any interest in voting. I don't have any interest in knowing anything. I see what it does to our family, and it's not something I want to be part of. And I looked at her.
That's sad. That's truly sad.
Yep. And I looked at her. I'm like, I hear what you're saying, Carissa, but you got to understand, as a woman, there was a lot of things that we weren't able to do. And I know you're learning this in school, but you got to remember that you can make a difference by your vote. And it's so important to understand it.
Yeah.
And when I was your age, I didn't have any interest in political anything at 16. But I told her, I said, but I can help you figure that out. I don't want you to think of this as a negative thing.
Hmm.
And I understand you see that, but don't. And she said, all right, well, she was listening. You can tell she was listening. But if she feels that way, how many other youth feel that way as well?
Well, that's interesting because I have, as you know, I have a 21-year-old son and a 23-year-old daughter. Both of them very politically active. Couldn't wait to vote when they were 18. Got pictures of them. They
Yep.
couldn't wait to vote when they were 18 years old. My daughter was able to vote in the first election at 23 for Donald Trump, and that was a beautiful thing. My son was finally able to vote, and when he turned 18, of course, and they were super proud. They wear it on their sleeve. My son's got Trump stickers all over his truck.
Well, I
So,
know that she's proud of what I do. She tells the teachers, and every now and then I go in and have a meeting, and they tell me that she's watching me. And if we go back to the gun rights policy conference in my speech, you know, advocacy through action, the future is watching, and they're watching what we do, what we say, how we do it, how we say it,
well, sure.
and it's that starts there. And we need to figure out, like I think you and I were talking last night, like what are we going to do when we're gone? Who's going to take over our role? Who's going to take this over and protect this for the future, for their kids, for their kids? And
Well,
how do we get them excited about doing this when they see how hard we fight?
yeah, that's a mountain to climb because let me use an example of a good friend of mine in Virginia, very politically active, very wealthy man, and like I said, very, very politically active. When I talked to him right after what happened in Virginia, I said, Joe, what are you going to do? He goes, I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do. And I've known Joe for many, 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 many years. One of my oldest friends. He's 10 years older than I am. But he said, I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do. He says, I'm tuning it all out now. I'm done. I'm not watching it, not reading it, not looking at it. I don't need to watch local news in Virginia Beach to get the weather. I can go to my phone and get it. I'm just done. And he's tuning it out. He has what he needs in his life at this age. He's loaded. He's retired. Ran a very successful marine contracting business. He had Navy contracts at the Naval Yard there for many, many years. And got very wealthy in the process over the years. Worked his ass off. Has everything he needs. Beautiful big home. Beautiful 76-foot yacht. Moves back and forth between Florida. Sport fishes. Lives a great life. Has plenty of guns. He just doesn't give a shit anymore. I'm done. He's turning it off.
Ugh.
Because he understands that there's nothing he can do. And he made it clear. He says, I'm going to donate to who I donate to. I'm going to continue to help, behind the scenes, but I'm just simply not paying. I'm just going to live the rest of my life, and I'm going to turn that shit off, and I'm not. And I understand that. Now, your daughter seems to be doing that at 18, which is a really bad thing. Now, I think she'll come out of it.
Yeah, I mean, she's
She
only
will.
16, so she's
She'll
still
figure it out.
she's still figuring it out what she's doing right now, and next year she'll be graduating, and that's a big, thing to figure out when you're that age. So I think she'll change. It'll come around. She'll see the importance of voting,
Just don't send her to Harvard, okay?
Just what?
Don't send her to Harvard.
Did
Did I say that right?
you
Harvard?
say heaven?
Harvard?
Harvard?
Harvard.
Harvard. Oh, Harvard.
Harvard.
Yeah.
Just don't send her there, okay?
Don't send her to Harvard. Yes.
No, the indoctrination going on in schools. This is why I said at the beginning, and I've mentioned this on my radio programs for years and years and years, and I firmly believe it, that we do bear some responsibility here, okay? We knew what was happening at our universities, yet we continued to send our kids anyway, right?
Right.
We just trusted that our kids weren't going to fall for the indoctrination, and sadly, a lot do.
Yeah,
We
it's in the
continue
high
to buy
schools
their
right
movies.
now.
Yeah, we continue to buy their movies. We continue to buy their music. And pop culture shapes life. It does. I could probably name a few songs. You and I have talked about music a lot. You sing, I like to play the guitar. And, you know, I can name songs for you that you're going to remember because it had such a huge impact on your life, right? You
Right.
remember where you were when that happened. Some aspect of your life, that song may have changed. That's just the way it is. And that's why, you know, my kids knew a long time ago if Bruce Springsteen came on my radio, turn that shit off. I was done. All right. They knew. They knew when they were little. Turn the dial. Daddy doesn't want to listen to that guy. Why? He's a commie. Daddy hates him. Turn it off. They were sitting in car seats yelling that. It was funny.
Oh,
We laughed
that's
and joked
funny.
about it. Okay. But I never did buy his music because I hated it. But I did buy others that were a bunch of liberals, right? I used to love listening to John Mellencamp's music. Couldn't care less about him at this point. I used to love watching Robert De Niro. Can't watch him anymore.
No, I wish they would shut up and not tell me. I don't want to know.
Well, you know, if they were smart, they
wanna know.
would. You
Yeah.
got a guy like Jimmy Kimmel who alienates half of the nation. Instead of working on a show, he could have, you know, if he were being funny and not talking politics all day long, could have double the audience, which would be double the business, which would be double the advertisement. They don't care,
Right.
you know, and that's a testament to how much money they have. All right. When you have enough money that you don't give a shit if the other half of the country pays you or not, that's a lot of money. And
Right.
good for him. I'm happy for him. We'd all like to have that bank account, wouldn't we? Yeah. All right. But, you know, so I don't have any problem. What I have a problem with is people who like Michael Moore's a great example that hate capitalism, that get rich off capitalism. You know, what's his name? Bernie Sanders, right? Bernie Sanders, 3 houses, Bernie Sanders. Loaded. Guy's worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. Multiple homes. Out there talking about the poor all day long. And how about you get off your ass? How about you leave Congress? And how about you go out there and start do something? Create a foundation.
Give
Really
one
do
of your
something.
houses, you know.
Yeah, let them live with you.
Yeah, there you go.
None of that
Hey,
will happen.
take an illegal immigrant.
None of that will happen. Okay, these people talk out both sides of their ass. It's just what they do.
Yes.
You know, and that's that. You know, hey, gives us something to talk about. It's content, right?
Absolutely.
So let's do a life hack because the testing on this has gone really well, with the exception of your camera.
Oh.
And we've got a couple hundred, 241 viewers over on Twitter.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, we
hello,
appreciate
everybody.
it, guys. So
If you're from Massachusetts, give a thumbs up.
yeah. But
'Cause-
let's do a life hack. What do you know? What can you tell me? How can we help somebody's life get better today? What's a good life hack? Do you have any life hacks?
A life hack to make your life better.
Yeah. Got any life hack, like a recipe hack or a,
You know, the
to
one thing
fix
that
a
I've
broken
been
headlight
thinking
hack or
about
something?
more and more is social media. I think sometimes we need to put our phones down, literally, and give ourselves some time. And I am so guilty of not doing that because I think the silence that it creates when we put our phone down is almost scary because your mind
Uncomfortable
starts
for us.
wandering. Yep, it's uncomfortable.
It's
But
not for me anymore. As I've gotten older, when I drop my phone, this is true. This just happened to me in Publix grocery store the other day. I dropped my phone, and because I absolutely hate having to put this thing in my pocket or carry it with me everywhere I go. I can't stand it. And I dropped it in Publix, right in one of the aisles, all right? And I looked right at it, right there in Publix, and I said out loud, "I hope that hurt, you son of a bitch." Because I can't stand it. I hope they have feelings because I hate them, you know? I actually did that. I had a couple people laugh at me. And funny Publix stores. Like my wife asked me to buy some wine a few weeks ago. And I said, "What is it?" She goes, "I think it's called Menage a Trois." And I'm like walking around looking for Menage a Trois wine, and there were 2 ladies in there, and it was obvious that neither one of us could find what we were looking for. And I said, "Maybe you can help me." She goes, "What are you looking for?" I said, "A Menage a Trois." She goes, "I can't help you." I said, "No, I'm talking about the wine." She goes, "It's over there. I know what you're talking about." Absolute true story. It is a wine brand, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I said to my wife,
my
"Don't ever
God.
do that to me again. You go get your own Menage a Trois if you want to go to the grocery store. I'm not doing that ever again." Okay.
Oh,
But,
that's priceless.
Yeah, I got a life hack for you.
Okay.
So do you have like outside the studio here, I have the outside lights, the porch lights?
Yes.
And don't they always get messy, with webs and bugs and shit all the time?
Mm-hmm.
No, you take WD-40 and spray it all over it. They go away and they'll never come back ever again. It will keep all your porch lights clean. You can use it
I
all over
didn't
your house.
know
Basically.
that.
You didn't know that, did you?
No.
As a life hack for you. Really,
Yeah,
really
that
simple
would
to
probably
do.
be good for the cameras too.
Well, and there's another one too, and it's with peppermint.
Oh,
I
for
don't know
the
if you've
bugs.
have you heard that one?
Yes, because I am an essential oil guru.
Absolutely works.
Yep.
And here's what I'm talking about. And guys, if you ever have a problem, if you live down south, it's a real problem. I don't know if do you guys have carpenter, the big carpenter bees? You know, the ones that dig the little holes
Yes.
into the wood. I guess they're everywhere, right?
Yep.
Well, they come out in the summertime, and it used to drive me nuts. I actually had fun with it. I'd beat the shit out of them with a tennis racket,
They're not
or I'd
scared for
spray
sure.
the kill stuff. I'd let them dig the hole and then, fill it up with like, wood and think, wow, they're in there just suffocating. And it's like burying your enemies in a cave on Iwo Jima. It must be a horrible death for the bee. But I don't care because I can't stand bees. And they're damaging the shed. But no, you spray peppermint oil all over that wood. You use a half a peppermint oil and half was it vinegar or was it water? I think it was water. Might have been vinegar. Might have to look. But guys, you can mix it up with vinegar and peppermint oil and spray the wood. They will never come back the remainder of the summer ever again. Just spray the wood one time. It only takes one time, and it works. So there's your two. There's two life hacks for
There
you.
you go. Yeah. So I have chickens. I don't know if you knew that about me.
No, I did not know that. Is it legal to have chickens in a HOA neighborhood in Massachusetts, or are you violating the law?
Thankfully, I'm not in one of those.
Oh, there you go. Good for you.
Nope. So I have my own eggs. So if anybody has their own chickens, people have asked me, how do you know if the eggs are good still? So, didn't know if you knew this. Fun fact. Fill a glass of water up and then put the egg in. If it floats, get rid of it. If it sinks, you're good to go. There you go. There's my
Get
life.
out.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
If you were here, I would push you like Elaine on Seinfeld and say, "Get out." Now, what I always thought, and I don't know if this is true, when you crack an egg to fry it, and the yolk breaks when you put it in the pan, that they always said that egg is bad. Is that true?
No. No.
Well, I've wasted a lot of eggs over the years then.
No, it's not. I mean, sometimes the membrane on the outside is just thin.
So sometimes you just get that thin bummer egg, right?
Yep. Yep. And some people think that fresh eggs, if you see a speck of blood in the yolk, it's bad. No, that's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Well, I see that in a lot.
Yeah, it's just happens to be sometimes part of the if you have a roux, then that egg is fertilized.
We have a little farm down the road from the house, and the woman's got the fresh eggs.
They're the best.
Organic fresh eggs, and they are. There's a noticeable difference between those and grocery store eggs. But I got to tell you, it freaks me out when I pick them up. Each one is a little bit different size. Each one's a little different color, and each one is covered with feathers and dirt and shit. And I'm like, I know I'm not eating the outside of the egg, but for some reason,
Well, do you know that if you wash the egg, you're washing the natural membrane that the chicken lays? When they lay an egg, they actually lay a membrane around the egg to protect it from bacteria.
Okay.
So you're not technically supposed to wash them.
Well, wash it before you give it to me. Okay.
You just have to wash it yourself.
I mean, they are good. You see some are speckled, some are green, some are purple. They're all really dirty and they all have feathers. Why didn't they clean these damn things?
That's why. There you go. They're protecting.
There's another life hack, right?
There you go.
Eggs. So there you learn.
Eggs, chickens, roux, guns. Yeah. Come on the show. You never know what you're going to get.
Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for putting up with us because we're testing these systems here on both sides. Now, Kerrie, your camera hasn't been up, but that's on your end, and I know that's not on our end.
I think it's a permission issue.
Okay.
And I think I have to go into, which is good because I was debating. So I have my own show called Sisters in Arms: A Firearm Story. It's on YouTube, and I actually record the show out of a local access channel in Taunton. And I'm going to try to do some more podcasts on my own, but I was going to use StreamYard. So Mark was introducing me to Riverside, and I'm glad that we did this because if there's an issue with this camera, then I might need to either figure out the permissions or get a new one. So
yeah, for those of you that like to watch Armed American Radio, and a lot of you do, as we continue to grow the video stream side of things, it requires some of this behind the scenes nonsense. It just has to. YouTube didn't make our lives any easier yesterday when I held up a a goat gun during one of the breaks, and I put it together during the breaks to show people. One of our great partners. It was a toy gun. It was about this big, Yeah, and they suspended me, took me off. They didn't tell me how long the suspension was going to be for, but that was a little bit of a pain.
It's so ridiculous.
No, but I will say this. Thank you, YouTube, for bringing me back up. I do appreciate that because it's very difficult to deal with them. You can't get a real person. And, you just accept what's going on. But,
Right.
Now what I do know is if it wasn't live streamed, it would have been okay. I did find that out. So whatever. We just don't do that on live streams anymore. Like I have a guitar sitting behind me that I would love to play for y'all right now. I could play some rock and roll for you. But guess what's going to happen? It's a live stream, and we're going to get copyrighted, and there'll be a strike. And, you just got to learn to, I guess, take a knee to the tech overlords at some point. You do your best to fight it, but sometimes you can't fight it, right?
Can I mention real quick, too, that
Mention
today's
whatever you
the
want. You can
last...
say it any way you want.
Oh, I love it. This is why I love being on your show. Today's the last day to submit written testimony for the hearing from for the Halloween hearing that we had here in the state. So
Where do people go to do that if they want to participate?
if you go to MA legislation, I think it's legislator.com, and then you go to hearings and you go to joint committee hearings, go to the calendar and choose the one for the 31st. Click on that and the information's there. You can also email me if you like it, kerrie@goal.org, and I will send you that information. And if you're having a hard time figuring out how to do the written testimonial, I can help you with that as well.
And how to, again, they go, tell us where to go so that you can help them do that. Thank you guys putting up with the cameras as we test everything. We appreciate that.
Yes. So it's Kerrie, KERRIE, @goal.org, and that's GOAL.org.
Okay. So let's cover some liberal news. You want to do that?
Sure.
Let's go to, this is always fun to do. Let's go to Drudge Report because Drudge is a sellout who clearly suffering from TDS. Do you ever visit Drudge Report anymore? I remember, when it was a big conservative site, we all went there.
No, I haven't been there in a
Right.
while, actually.
Well, let's see. Let's go there live. Republicans tried to squelch Epstein furor. Instead, they fed it. New database, search files released so far. Bannon hides 15 hours of interviews. Don orders investigation of Big Beautiful Bill, meaning Bill Clinton. ICE almost deports Native American woman. People held in decrepit facilities sue over inhumane conditions. Megyn Kelly is in here. Let's see what she says. Megyn suddenly finds pedophilia very hard to define. This site went so far left. And I don't know if he took money or not. I had heard rumors that he had sold the site years back, but there's no way to prove that. They even had a dollar figure, something around. It said something about he sold the site for like $37 million to a couple that his parents knew or something. I have no idea.
Oh dear God.
I don't know if he's in charge of it or not. But let's see. Let's take a look at some other stuff. New twist in Georgia election probe as council director takes over Trump case himself. Court reveals Brian Koberger's jail windfall and orders him to pay victims' parents.
You know what I have a question about? Whatever
What do you
happened
have a question about?
to Tyler? Is that his name? Who killed Charlie Kirk? You don't hear anything about that.
He's in and out of hearings. Yeah, he's in and out of hearings. And that the mere fact that there are people that support that individual tells you everything you need to know about the state of American politics on the left.
Yeah. And then you got teachers saying that they're glad he's dead. Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's pathetic.
It really is an eye opener, though, to make you kind of a sad reminder how sad some of these people are,
Yeah, well, on fun terms, Landman is coming back in 2 days. Do you watch that on Paramount with Billy Bob Thornton?
No.
Oh, God, start watching it. Season 2 starts. I would highly recommend you watch season 1 first, though.
Okay.
But it's really, really good, and that's coming back too. You got all these liberals on TV. It's kind of like if you want to listen to music or you want to be entertained, you're going to have to put up with the way some of these people are, right? but you got to pick and choose your fights.
That is true.
Like I said, I can't watch Robert De Niro anymore. He just makes me sick to my stomach, and it's
Yeah.
sad. But I've seen all his great
It's like
movies.
Stephen King was my ultimate favorite.
Yeah, he's a
And
lunatic
now I'm
son of a
like,
bitch.
why did you open your mouth? Why? Why did you open your mouth?
Well, there's an answer for that. You wonder why? Because social media is there.
Yeah.
That's why. They just can't contain themselves. Believe me, I've gone in and I did it today. I was responding to a text on a local, responding to something on a Facebook, a local group I'm in, where some idiot put a liberal meme up about Donald Trump starving Americans, and all it was a talking point in a rural mountain county in the state of Georgia, which is not liberal by any stretch. And the responses that came back were hilarious. And I responded and I said, look, another goofy liberal infecting Georgia. And a lot of people come underneath me and defend me, saying that the person who put the original post up did not. But you if it weren't for, I've had to go in and I was going to respond to something else, and I said, just get out. Don't even bother.
Yeah, sometimes like you
Stay off
get
of,
yourself
like
in
you
that
said.
trap where you're like, you want to respond, but you realize that if you do, you're going to be there for hours. Is it worth it? No, it's not.
To some people it is.
Yeah, some people it truly is, but I don't have I cannot put the energy into that when I have so much energy I need to put into this in Massachusetts. It's not worth it.
Yeah, well, you guys are doing God's work up there. You really are. And yeah, I got to say, I'm proud of you for sticking around and
Well,
fighting the fight. I'll be very honest with you. I'm glad I'm not in your shoes. I couldn't live in a place like that. I couldn't live in California. I couldn't live in Washington or Oregon.
It's
I
not
couldn't live
easy,
in Massachusetts,
but
New Jersey. I just couldn't do it.
like I said, when you asked me, do I want to throw my hands up? When that chapter of the law passed, the bill passed and became law, that was probably a very dark moment for me. Just realizing how hard we fought with the listening tours 2 years before that and everything else. But, I have this, maybe false sense of hope that something's going to change and we have a possibility of winning this at the ballot box. But then again, if we did, look at the audit.
Well, it's an uphill climb, and like California right now is a lost cause. And sadly, when it comes to, regardless whether it's gun rights or whatever the political topic du jour is, and you don't have any power like Virginia right now. Virginia's not quite as bad as California yet, but super majorities in California, Republicans don't even matter there. They're just there. They
Right.
can't do anything. There's nothing they can do, and you have to wonder at some point, when do you just say enough, right? Well, you got guys like Russell Stewart, good friend of mine that owns Beverly Hills Guns out there, who ran for the school board as a conservative and won a seat.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, he's got a new book coming out, Why the Nation Needs Real Men. Okay.
Oh, I
No
love
more
it.
pansy bullshit going on anymore.
Yeah.
No more woke crap. The nation needs good, strong men. Women need good, strong men. All right. The country needs it.
Yes.
And he's got a great book coming out. But here's a guy who, he's got money. He could go anywhere he wants to go. And he chooses to stay and fight. And what did he do? He won an election on the school board.
I'm so glad you said that because it really starts at the local elections. And I work elections as the precinct clerk for the past 10 years. And I don't get paid much, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I love being part of the town. I love being part of the election process. I love understanding how it all works because now I'm become like this nerd with this. And I love it, but it just starts at the local elections. If you want to make a difference, then run to be a selectman, run to be something in the town, get on a board, that's super important.
Well, here's part of the problem with that. I've had opportunity to do that as well, and I've chosen not to. I didn't know, with what I'm doing, I didn't know if I could dedicate the time, right?
Right.
But there was actually people that wanted me to run for governor in the state of Georgia. I said, you're out of your mind. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, maybe not that far.
Well, they had donors lined up and everything. They were going to put me on a bus and haul me around. And what they were wanting to do was to run specifically on gun rights.
Oh,
to
right.
see what kind of legs that would get. And there was a lot of interest, believe it or not. They had a lot of donors lined up and were ready to do this, and I decided not to do it. And the state of today's politics, who wants to get involved right now? It's the messiest, nastiest, dirtiest, shittiest thing
Right.
that you can get yourself in on.
And it's
I know many
hard, but
people
if
who have done
we
it.
all stood up and took that step,
Mhm.
can you imagine what the change is that we could potentially make going forward?
Well, I just imagine if the news media told you the truth. Imagine if you got the truth
Yeah,
every day.
imagine
Imagine
if
if,
you
if
got the
ABC
truth.
News and NBC, so we can all CBS, okay? Imagine if they led every evening news show with a happy ending story about guns. Let me give you one here. And every one of these stories should be national
Yes, a
news.
good gun news story.
Let me
Yeah,
give
the
you one right
truth.
here.
That
Let's give you
guns
one.
actually protect lives
I'm going to
with
give you. We're going to do this
legal gun
live,
owners.
and let's go to a happy ending story here.
I love it.
Okay.
Let's do that. I like that.
2 alleged carjackers in serious condition after licensed gun owner opens fire. That's from AWR Hawkins. Now, that should be, the human interest aspect of that should be a top national story. Because we are happy, should be anyway, when 2 alleged carjackers wind up in serious condition because they were stopped for committing their crime and not harming someone whose car they were trying to jack.
Right. That should be all over the place.
Now imagine if the news led with that story, followed by, let's find another one here. It's not going to be hard to do. I'll stay with AWR. Alleged burglar hospitalized after North Carolina homeowner opens fire.
Yep. You don't hear any of these stories.
Which would be followed by Los Angeles. 79-year-old veteran saves neighbor, fatally shoots nude home invasion suspect.
Oh, dear God.
Now, why these alleged burglar gets shot while forcing way into home? These are 4 stories just in the top 10 stories of AWR on Breitbart News.
Right.
Now, why those stories? Imagine if the news media led with those stories, how people's minds, how people would feel about guns and their gun rights if they led with these stories every day.
Yeah.
But they don't, and they
No.
don't do it intentionally. It's
And
called
can you
live
find
permission.
that by state?
Yeah, there's places you can go online. I won't tout any websites right now live, but there are. And one of them, let me give you one of them. USA Kerrie has a lot of the sites out there. AWR at Breitbart News writes a lot of happy ending stories. That
And
we
you know,
cover.
in Massachusetts, there are a lot of people that are afraid to use their firearm because of the repercussions of what's going to happen after. You know?
So you mean they're scared that Democrats might come after them and prosecute them for defending their own lives with a firearm?
There was a gentleman, I forgot his name now, but he was at a protest, and some guy, crazy guy, ran across the street and jumped right on top of him, knocked him down on the ground. He banged his head on the pavement, and the guy was a licensed carrier, and he protected himself. He did get off, so he's, it was self-defense, but he did not get his guns back yet. They won't give it to him back yet. So now he's got to fight with that. So now this guy has no guns, protected himself with a gun, and now he's defenseless.
Yeah, and the easy response to that is buy a new one.
Yeah, he can't. He can't get his license back.
And that's the problem in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You have to have a permission slip to buy a gun.
He was
then a permission slip from the government to buy the same gun. Okay, and this is all this. This is what's getting ready to happen in Virginia, and it's a nightmare for those folks. And there's a part of me, the cynic in me, says, "Well, too bad for you. You got what you deserved." Well, there are millions of Virginians that did not get what they deserved. They did not vote for that.
Yeah, and your head's going to spin even more. So, I'm going to read something. It says, I'm moving to Massachusetts. Do I need to register my firearms? Yes. A new resident of Massachusetts has 60 days to obtain a firearm license. Firearms must be registered once the license is issued. 60 days. You have 60 days. That is impossible in some towns. Some people are still waiting to get their license or renewal, and it's been over a year.
So when I say, Kerrie, over the years on the air many times, that if the Democrats continue to push their agenda, and I mean their entire agenda, the day will come when good, hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens are going to be forced to make decisions they never thought they'd have to be able to make in America. They never thought they'd have to make in this free country.
Right.
And that's one of them. And a lot of people say, "Well, this guy?" I had the left come after me. Media Matters at one point did. They famously came after me in a large story they wrote because I was talking about going into Costco in violation of their policy because I carry my gun with me whenever I go into Costco. Well, that's against Costco's policy. Well, it's not listed. I don't care if it is or not, because it's not a violation of me. It's not a violation of law for me to walk right past any sign here in the state of Georgia, unless I'm asked to leave. If I do, okay, which they're not going to see my gun anyway, because concealed means concealed. However, they don't have a sign up. All right, and I know I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here, but that decision that people have to make is very real in places like Massachusetts right now. And here's what I mean by that: if you're moving to Massachusetts and you're a gun owner, why should you put up with that bullshit? Take your guns, move into your house. Who's going to know?
Unless something happens like Kyle Kulata, when something happens, and that's the issue.
Right. Now, the risk is now you become a criminal in the eyes of Massachusetts law.
Right. Somebody breaks in your house, your house catches on fire, you have fire department there, you have police there, and all of a sudden they see you have guns. And
woo! Lots of Americans have guns. Hey, this guy has guns. Let's check. See, this is, again, Californians have faced this for years. And then they passed the new ammo bans, right? And the background checks. Do you think that no people crossed the border and went to Arizona and brought ammo back? They did.
Yeah.
They're doing it right now. I can promise you that. They're violating California law by doing so. Again, that's an example of a decision that no American should have to make that decision.
No.
When it's written, and I have it right on my arm. Here you go. That's the Second Amendment tattooed on my arm.
I love it. Okay? I absolutely love it.
You've seen it in real life. There it is.
Yes, I have.
Okay? And it's all 27 words. The commas are right where they're supposed to be. Okay?
I love it.
And it says that we have a right to keep and bear arms. Massachusetts has no business. I'm just
taking that away
because I can. I'm trying. I don't have to worry about FCC. They have no business fucking with me.
Right.
None. However, they do. Okay.
Yep, they do.
They do. And if they find it, they will enforce it. They will ruin your life. And as John Locke famously says, any encounter with the judicial system to a law-abiding American is hell on earth. It's a nightmare. We don't want to get involved and tied up. We're not interested in going to prison. It would ruin and destroy our lives.
Right.
As good people.
They put fear into a lot of gun owners in Massachusetts where they've actually have given up certain firearms because they're afraid.
And that's flat out.
I'm not giving any of my firearms away.
No. And that's where you have that. Now you're talking civil disobedience. Do I comply? Do I not comply? And too many Americans, behind the blue wall in particular, have to make those decisions as to whether or not to comply, knowing full well that noncompliance could get them thrown in jail.
Yeah.
And that's a horrible decision to have to make. And I don't envy anybody making it.
And the
again, I will say I will not put myself in a position that I have to do that. Because look, if for some weird reason Georgia were to turn bright blue, I'm out. I'm going right back to Florida.
Right.
Now I have the luxury to be able to do that. I don't want to right now, but I would.
Yeah. Where you know what? I don't. I have a family. I have kids that are established in the school. I don't have the financial resources to just pick everything up and go. But, even if I did, this is my home. This is where it started. And we all need to remember that. And we need to remember where it all came from, And again, going back to Lexington.
So your governor needs to remember that.
Yes. Well, I'm hoping that she's going to be canned because we got 3 amazing candidates and I'm torn to who to vote for, but they're all on our side.
Would you rather have Romney back?
No. I don't know.
He'd be worse than a liberal Democrat, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Dude, no.
I don't.
No.
No, I don't envy you for being in that position. Obviously, I know a lot of people that live in states like that because we deal with them every day. And we work with those organizations and those groups like yours. And we listen to them speak at events and what it is they're up against. You know, and I was listening to some poor guy in California talking about the Glock situation, and
Ugh.
he thought, you know, hey, I think it's cool. They're going to have new guns, and I just hope, you know, I'm really looking forward to getting some of them on the California approved list. And I'm like, wow, you sad, sorry bloke. That's what you have to worry about. Getting a gun on approved list by your overseers. Give me a break.
Yeah, and then and you just reminded me of something. There was a woman that was testifying, stating that they're trying to make it where the manufacturers are going to be held liable if somebody uses their firearms to commit murder or something. And I'm just so there were three reps up there that were on our side, and I think one of them said, well, so wait, are you telling me that if I took a Ford truck and killed somebody, that manufacturer is going to be responsible for that?
Well, that is exactly the analogy. It is a great analogy. You know, we talk about it all the time. We don't hold Ford responsible if a criminal uses a vehicle to kill somebody, stolen vehicle, or any vehicle for that matter.
Right.
Whether it's stolen or not, it doesn't make any difference. Is it an illegal car? Is it an illegal truck? It's a stolen vehicle.
Right.
Okay, but we don't hold. In fact, nobody even think. Even though the anti-gunners don't even think that. You never hear them say that we got to sue Ford. Nobody does that because people would look at you like, "What are you talking about?" It was somebody stole the truck and was being chased by the cops.
Right.
You look at what just happened in Tampa, Florida, with this guy that stole a vehicle down in Ybor City. Cops gave chase, and he ran into one of the very popular bars down there on 7th Avenue on the Strip in Ybor City, and took out 12 people, killed 4 of them when he crashed right into the outside dining room running from the law. Do we hold the vehicle manufacturer responsible for that? It's not even a thought. It's not even a thought.
It's not even a. I don't even.
The liberal police chief, the liberal mayor, don't even throw that out there. It's not even a thought. Yet when it comes to firearms, that's the first knee-jerk reaction is they want to sue the gun manufacturer.
Yep.
And we all know it's wrong.
Or restrict
they know
us
it's wrong.
With you can't have this one, you can have that one, but you can't have this firearm, but you can't have more than 10 rounds, and you can't. Oh my dear God!
Well, here's my answer as an American: yes, I can, and yes, I do, and yes, I will. And you're not going to stop me, okay? Because I will not comply with those laws. Now, I'm at a point in my life where I guess I've always been. I've never had a desire to live in a place like California or Jersey or anywhere behind the blue wall from a political standpoint for many, many years. And I can't think of an aspect of my life where it would absolutely become necessary that I did that. I did look at moving to Washington State one time, not that long ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, to martyr myself for a couple years to go to work over at SAF for a while. It went as far as even going up and looking at property. And for a number of different reasons, that didn't materialize, which is a good thing, because I look back and I thought, God, would I really have done that? Yeah, I guess I would have at that time for the reasons that it was necessary. But that would have been the only time that I can imagine in my life that I would say I will do that, and knowing it would have been temporary. Lee the Gunwriter Williams did it, moved to Washington State for a while. Lee's got more guns than he knows what to do with. Some of them are banned, And like a neighbor I had many years ago from across the street here, took a job and moved up to Connecticut, had to leave all his guns with his brother here because for the very reasons you're talking about in Massachusetts. And that he's a big hunter. It's absurd. No American should be forced to make that decision. And I would love to know the numbers of the people that just move with their guns and don't say shit to anybody.
Right.
I hope that number's high, frankly.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we'll never know. And guys, if you're one of them, don't tell anybody.
Don't say
I don't want you to say anything to anybody. Don't say anything to anybody.
Do not comment on this page.
But here's the thing. When you talk about it in those terms, what's actually happening is you're making a decision because the state is forcing you to either be free or not be free. You're making a conscious decision. I'm not going to be free. I'm going to comply. And by my compliance, I'm not living as a free man or woman. And when you violate that statute, you are living free of that statute. You are choosing to exercise your freedoms, but you are doing so at a cost. It's like many people who work in convenience stores where guns are not allowed. It's a very dangerous job, and they choose to carry anyway. And then they off a clerk, or a clerk, is robbed, and the clerk offs the criminal, and everybody claps and cheers, and then 7-Eleven fires him.
Right.
because he violated their policy. Well, guess what? You value your life more than your job?
Right.
Or you value your job more than your life? These are
Somebody,
decisions that people have to make.
yeah, that's true. And I had women ask me once before, Kerrie, you carry. I said, yeah, I
Kerrie,
carry
you
every
carry.
carry, I carry. You carry, would you be willing to, and they said, kill somebody? And I said, I'm willing to stop the threat if they're going to hurt myself or my family, my kids specifically. I will use the tool to stop the threat. And they look at me and to say, well, that's a strange way of saying it. Yeah, because nobody wants to kill anybody, but I
Right.
am going to stop that threat. And I think they think it differently when they hear it coming from me that way, you know.
Well, you can look at that. There's a lot of different ways to phrase that, okay? I've heard it a lot over the years. Why do you call someone being killed in a home invasion a happy ending story when someone's dead? Oh, real easy for me to answer that. First of all, because there's nothing lower the life form than a thief. And the thief got what they deserved. And I have phrased it this way. If you intentionally attempt to deprive another American of their right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness by robbing them, breaking into, stealing, whatever you're doing, you've given up your rights to all three of the above instantly. And if your actions result in your death or your destruction or you becoming a paraplegic or a quadriplegic, too bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
That was your decision.
Right.
Now, as a Christian, I don't want somebody to be killed. I would prefer they not do that anyway.
Right.
Okay? But if they do, that's their decision.
That's their decision.
And the reason it's a happy ending story is not because we are celebrating someone's death at the hands of another human being. We're celebrating the fact that the victim is alive.
Right. We're celebrating the fact that we won evil, you know.
Yeah, the family is safe. The husband is safe. The wife is safe. The kids are
Right.
safe. The dog didn't get killed.
Right.
They weren't terrorized. No one was raped. No one was murdered. No one was robbed. So, yeah, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I've pulled a gun on two human beings before. Thankfully, I didn't have to pull the trigger. I would have. I wouldn't have hesitated. And they knew it. That's why they stopped their action.
Right.
Thank God I didn't have to. I don't want to have to go through that.
Nobody wants to
I don't
go
want to
through
have
that.
to go through that aftermath. I really, truly don't. But at the same time, I'm certainly willing to do so. And I would be willing to do it whether I was in Chicago. Yeah, and I'll tell you right now on this podcast, I've carried a gun in California in violation of the law.
Yeah.
Minnesota,
a couple
Washington,
of years ago,
Oregon.
I accidentally drove into Connecticut.
I didn't accidentally do anything. I did it absolutely intentionally. So there you go, Media Matters. Have at it.
Now, Waze took me in a different direction, and all of a sudden I'm like, where am I? Oh, dear Lord. I'm carrying. I have a firearm on my hip. It was a couple of years ago. I was freaking out and, pulled over, did what I had to do as, what the law tells me to do in Connecticut, and then got out of there as quick as I could.
Yeah, I've
As I'm traveling by myself at night,
Yeah, when I had the AAR vet dolled up with the logos and all, I was asked to go up to SIG. It would have been really cool to put the vet in front of SIG with all the markings on it and all that stuff. But I had no intention of driving through Maryland, New Jersey, Delaware, Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts to get up there because I wouldn't have driven unarmed. And it's not worth it to me.
Right.
You said, unless you want to put it on a car hauler and pay for that, have at it. But I'm certainly not going to drive it up there. Coming up there, what do they call me? I'm a part of the pipeline. And that begs the question too. That you talk about the cops up there that make an arrest on somebody like that poor. Yeah, I'll just say that poor guy. Okay, whose life is wrecked because of this.
Mentally, he went through
shot.
Hell in jail. Right. Hell.
Of course, and no good, decent person wants to ever have to
and
go
he's
through
a
that.
and he's a vet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to wonder. I think the police mentality is different in those areas too.
It depends. It depends on what town you're in. I know my town, my little town. I live in a little town and they all know me. Hey, if you got a question, ask the gun girl. She's on the corner of blah 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 blah. And so, and it's hysterical, but they all know the police chief and all the policemen. They are all completely on our side, and I'm very fortunate to have that here. But
Well, there's
not
a lot of
everybody
places
is.
that they're not.
Nope, there's not everybody is, and you don't know. You really truly don't know who you might get that just happen to pull you over.
I can promise you there's a big difference if you're stopped by the Florida Highway Patrol on Interstate 75 or Interstate 95. You're going to be treated a hell of a lot differently than if you're stopped on the New Jersey Turnpike by a New Jersey state trooper, particularly with an out-of-state tag that has Florida or Georgia on it.
Right.
Okay, they're going to treat you entirely differently. You're going to be asked, are you carrying a gun?
Yeah,
In
because
Florida,
that's the law there, right? They have a duty to tell.
Yeah, well, they're going to ask you, try to put you on the spot. They know
Yeah.
you're from out of state. They know you're traveling. Where you heading? Where you going? Which is none of your business, quite frankly. Why'd you stop me? Well, you're speeding. Well, then give me a ticket.
Right. Somebody
Next thing
asked
you know,
me
you're
the other
being
day.
hassled, right?
Somebody
People get
asked me.
thrown in jail for it.
Yeah. Yep. And somebody asked me the other day, would you tell a cop if you got pulled over? I said, first off, I don't have a duty to tell in Massachusetts, and no, I wouldn't. Absolutely not. If
Yeah, I don't do that here either. There's no
No.
reason to do it. Now, let me give you some good advice, though, ladies and gentlemen. If you are, I did notify one Florida Highway Patrol when I got pulled over a number of years ago on the Barris Avenue exit on Interstate 275 in Tampa when I was leaving my office one day. I went down an exit south of where I would normally go because I had to drop something off at the post office, and I got on the interstate, and as I was getting on the ramp, I wasn't paying attention to my speed. I was just merging onto traffic. And the speed limit was 55, and I popped it up like 70 or 75 or something, and I got pulled over. Young cop. And all of my paperwork was in a glove box. And I had a gun on me that I was worried if I leaned over if he had seen the gun. So I just told him, I said, I am carrying a gun. He goes, I kind of figured that. I already knew that. Because it's tied to your driver's license in the cop's database. They don't even care. I said, I do have a firearm. He goes, good. I'm glad.
Yep.
Just keep it holstered. I said, I will.
Yep.
And went about my merry way, and I got a warning.
Right.
Would have been a $183 ticket.
I would,
You're not going to be treated like that in Jersey, folks. You're not.
Yeah, no.
Okay, you're going to wind up getting proned out. It's going to look like a massive felony stop, and they're going to make you feel like a criminal because many of them believe if you have a firearm that you are in fact a criminal.
Right. Well, I did tell this person, I said, but I would tell them that I had a firearm if they had me get out of the car or anything like that. Then I'm a licensed carrier, and I'm legally able to carry, or make sure that they know first, I'm licensed carrier. Don't say, I have a gun. That won't go good for you.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then,
it just shouldn't be that way.
yeah, right. It shouldn't. And
The answer should be, oh, I'm glad. I did. I think it was one of the local cops. It was a long time ago here in Georgia. My kids were real little when we had just moved here, and I think it was 05 from Florida. And we were taking the kids to get ice cream, and I got pulled over in my big red truck, they called it. And the kids were in car seats at the time, and the blue lights went on behind me, and it was I believe it was a Georgia state trooper, which is unusual to see on residential roads around here. But nonetheless, I knew I was in trouble when the guy got out. I could tell the way he was putting his hat on and his chin strap. I went, ruh-roh. This guy means business. And he walks up and he says, you know why I'm stopping you? And I said, well, I'm going to guess you're going to tell me I was speeding. He goes, 52 and a 35. I said, it's not 35 here, it's 45. And right ahead of me was a 35-mile-an-hour sign. And I said, I haven't gotten to that sign yet. And he was sitting on a side street about 50 yards north of that sign. Well, the last sign behind me was 45 coming down the hill. And I said, officer, does the speed limit start when I see the sign or when I get to the sign? Knowing the answer, and that's when you get to the sign, not when you see it. Now think about this. I've asked cops that question. They said, well, when you can see the sign. I said, what if what if my eyesight's different than someone else's? The speed limit starts for me as I get closer and farther back for somebody that can see, but you can start administering eye tests. It's when you reach the sign. The last sign said 45. It's not 35 until I get to that sign. So he clocked me coming towards that sign, and I knew that. I was carrying a 1911 at the time. My kids were crying in the back seat. They thought Daddy was going to go to jail. The cop pulled me over, They were back there bawling and everything. And I had a radar detector on the window in the truck, but it wasn't plugged in because my lighter fuse was out. and it wouldn't have worked anyway. And the cop said, he comes back. I said, look, I just moved here. I said, can I get a break? All right, because I'm not doing 52 and a 35. I'm doing 52 and a 45, and you probably wouldn't have stopped me anyway. And he reaches in my car in front of me through the open window, and he says, if you want a break next time, you'll get rid of that. And he points to my radar detector. And I said, well, wait a minute. First of all, don't enter my vehicle. I didn't give you permission to enter my vehicle, number one. Number two, I said, I'm a good guy, not a bad guy, okay? I said, is that illegal in the state of Georgia? He goes, no, it is not. I go, what is the problem? It's legal. It's not even plugged in because the lighter's broken. I said, it seems to me like the only reason you're mad is because you knew if it was plugged in, we wouldn't be having this conversation likely. Okay? He wrote me the ticket, $190, and on the ticket he hand wrote radar detector and underlined
Oh, Lord.
And I went, what a dick.
Right.
So I said, well, I'm going to go to court on this. And I did. I went to court. And by the whole moral, I was carrying a firearm. I didn't notify him because I didn't have to. I was no threat to the officer, then or now. And by law, I didn't have to do that. So anyway, I went to court, and I handed the paperwork when I got there. And she goes, what's with the radar detector? Did you write that? I said, no, the officer wrote that. I didn't see him in court. I don't know if he was there or not. And when I explained to the judge what had happened, everything that I just told you, a ticket was wiped out. I had to pay, I think, $25 in costs to go. But they wiped it out. I took 2 hours of my time, and I went to court. They wiped it out. And they apologized to me. The court apologized to me. I thought that was interesting. So, he lost, okay? But I did ask the question. And the reason I did it, he says, I'm curious why. He goes, I understand $190, you don't want to pay that. And I said, well, honestly, it's the bigger point that I was trying to make was there was a speed limit sign behind me. The last sign I saw was 45. And he goes, no, you're absolutely correct. He goes, that's part of the reason I'm wiping it out, not because of the radar detector, which you admitted wasn't plugged in, okay? It wasn't working anyway, but it's totally legal to have. So there's always that. But he goes, no, you're right. He goes, it's when you get to the sign. And they went back up and down and looked at it because I took a picture, and sure enough. All right. Now, it's still 35 in that same spot. Every time I go past that spot, I often wonder, am I going to get pulled over? Because I'm never going 35 there, honestly. I'm going 45 or greater. Everybody is at that space, kind of a speed trap deal. But, yeah, there's your tip of the day for the day, ladies and gentlemen. The speed limit doesn't start until you get to the sign.
There you go. There's another tip for you.
There's another life hack for you today, right? So you get something good out of the show today.
That's right.
Even though it's just testing, and I do appreciate you being here with me for all the time.
Thank you for dealing with my camera. And at least you can hear me. And
yeah.
We'll figure it out. But
all right. Well,
I appreciate being on. And
let's let the cat out of the bag here. We're going to be doing Unhinged and Unholstered with Mark Walters' podcast coming up over the course of the next few weeks, ladies and gentlemen, when we make an official announcement of when we're going to do an actual official start date to actually drop the podcast. And we have some things to do behind the scenes again, but we are making progress, as you can see that we're here today. And we appreciate you being here. So I can't say I hope you enjoyed the show because it really was just a test deal for us, but I appreciate you sitting in and having a conversation with us today. I do appreciate it very much. You got your work cut out for you in Massachusetts, and we wish you Godspeed, Kerrie. And we're going to be there to help you. So. Yeah,
I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on. It's always fun having a conversation with you because we started at 11?
I think so. I don't even know.
11-ish or something. And how easy was it to have a conversation and have something to talk about? Because there's a lot to talk about.
Well, there is, and I want people to know that with Unhinged and Unholstered, it's unfiltered as well. And that's a good thing. Sometimes what we talk about gets kind of emotional, and you might hear a bad word from time to time. Too bad. It's real life. And I'm glad that we're able to do that. But you're going to hear more of a conversational flow with guests. It's not going to be like Armed American Radio. It's going to be entirely different. We'll be talking a lot about life and things, but we're going to get to know our guests really good.
I love it.
And you were the guinea pig today.
I love it. Well, I hope you have me on again.
Oh, definitely. And, the fun part is, did we start at 11? No, we started at 12. We started at 12.
Oh,
maybe a little bit later because I remember you telling me that earlier. But guys, the conversation you heard now today is very similar to the conversation that her and I had last night up until almost midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. We talk about these things in real life, not just in front of a camera on a microphone or on Armed American Radio, but we do actually have these real conversations. It's very real what you get. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun to bring an unhinged and unholstered, unfiltered conversation,
I love it. I'm
you know,
looking forward to seeing it.
to the internet. So, all right. Well, thank you, Kerrie. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Next
I
time,
appreciate
do I
it.
need to send you a new camera?
Yeah,
You be
maybe.
good with what you got? We'll
I think I
figure it
need a
out.
new camera. Yep.
Where can people find you? Let people know where they can find you.
It's so if you want to contact me regarding anything regarding Massachusetts, email me at Kerrie, so Kerrie @goal.org. And you can also visit the other websites as well, Armed Women of America and Women for Gun Rights. And of course, the Second Amendment Institute, I have to plug them in there too because I'm part of all these organizations. Together, we're working very hard to try to fight for our civil rights every day.
Boy, do you have your work cut out
Yep.
for you.
So if you're a lady and you're interested in trying to protect your civil rights, please consider joining. It's free for Women for Gun Rights. Click on that website and hit join now, and I'll get an email directly from you, and I'll add you to my list.
Yeah, and I want to point out too that you don't have to live in Massachusetts to join Women for Gun Rights. There are chapters throughout the country.
Yes. So
It doesn't
I'm
matter where
the
you live.
Yep. I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm the state director for Massachusetts. We have in Vermont, New Hampshire, all sorts of states have a state director, and our job is to really just focus on our state and try to
Right.
keep you informed of what you can do to help us fight the fight.
And it is a fight, particularly where you live. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be on Armed American Radio now in less than 2 hours with our guest, Paul Markle, student of the gun. And we will be right back here on all of these social media platforms every day, Monday through Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern, 1 to 2 Pacific, and of course on Sundays on the Monstercast from 8 to 11. Correct me if 8 to 11 Eastern, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., as most of you know. And on that's also 5 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. You can do the math in between and figure out your own time zones there. But Kerrie, as you know, we never stop. The left is never going to stop. And that's why these conversations are so important. And guys, with Unholstered and Unhinged, it's not just going to be guns, okay? You're going to hear all kinds of cool stuff. You did get some cool life hacks today. We'll even do some really fun recipes. Yeah, we'll do some fun recipes. But guys, you can tune in at armedamericanradio.com and watch us on all platforms. We start the national radio program at 6 minutes after the hour at 4 p.m. every day for an hour. Buckle in, it flies. And Kerrie, just correct me if I'm wrong. It is Friday today, right?
Yes.
Whew. It's been
I
a
know.
long week, you know?
Yep.
And
I
you
know.
and
I
talked
gotta
about that
submit
we
my
talked about how
recipe.
long it's been last night, right? Good heavens. Yeah. And guys, let me tell you something. I'm not going to hold back. Kerrie knows what I'm talking about. She's not going to let the cat out of the bag. But in the very near future, there's going to come a point where there's going to be a show that you don't want to miss. I can promise you that, because I am taking names, and I will name names at some point in time. When Angry Mark comes out of that box, Kerrie,
It's
look
like the
out.
mama bear and the daddy bear. Don't mess with it.
Ooh, it's going to be ugly for some folks on the other end of this microphone, not on the other end of this microphone, but in viewership land. And when the time is right, we're going to do that. I'll keep you posted. I can't let that cat out of the bag right now, but anyway, that is going to happen.
Yep.
And you know what's fun about that, Kerrie, is the older I get,
I know.
the
Did we
less
have
I
that
give a shit.
conversation? Yeah, we had that conversation. We're like, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah, well, you know,
know,
watch it.
You just do what you got to do and do the best you can. And if somebody's got a problem with, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, stay unholstered and stay unhinged, okay? You have to unholstered and unhinged. The unholstered part. I can't wait to see some of the left-wing crap. Oh, hey, by the way, did you know I was on the front page of the Epic Times newspaper last week?
Yeah, you were telling me. That's awesome.
Did I send you that?
Congrats.
It's really cool stuff. They did a great article on my lawsuit against OpenAI, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're interested, you can go to Epoch. It's EPOCH times.com, and you can read that
Yeah,
story.
and that debate that you had with Cheryl and Amanda at the AmCon, that was awesome. That really was awesome.
That was fun.
It was fun.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the opportunity to be able to talk about it. It's the first time I'd ever talked about it publicly since I lost the case. And, a lot of people said, aren't you bummed that you lost? Why didn't you? No, I'm not. I'm not. I could have appealed that case. Guys, if you want to find it, it's just Google, search, whatever search engine, DuckDuckGo, whichever engine you use. Just go Walters v. OpenAI. It's everywhere. In fact, I get alerts every single day. There's still universities. They're going to be talking about that case for a long time to come because it set precedent. So if you're a public figure, you can thank me for that later. But it's an answer that we had to have. from the courts. Now we know what we need to do and what we need to change going forward. And I'm really proud to have been the first person on the face of the planet to have done that.
Yeah,
But
and
you know,
I don't think
yeah.
I never when I because I use a chat GPT, and
Mhm.
I use it in a way that's responsible. I don't go in there and abuse it. However, there are people that do. But I then, like, I don't know, when did they start putting the little disclosure at the end on the bottom?
Well, yeah, my case had a lot to do with some of that. I don't know
Yeah.
the specifics of what it was, but I know there were changes as a result.
Yep.
But it all ties back to the New York Times Sullivan case with me because it hinged. It's funny, I go, because I know I was there. I was the plaintiff in the suit. I read and approved every document. I read every line of their responses. I was at every oral argument for 2 years throughout my case. And it's really fun to watch these pundits who don't know jack shit talk about my case as if they were sitting in the courtroom. It's clear to me that a lot of them never read any of the material or just looked at it on the surface. Well, he never stood a chance in a libel case because he was a public figure. Well, that wasn't as easy to come. There's a lot of nuances to what a public figure is. There's various types and so forth. And under Georgia law, the reason their case was not dismissed was because I had a case.
Right.
All right. Now, I lost, and that's cool. I respect the judicial system, and Judge Tracy Cason was very fair to me in Gwinnett County for 2 years. She just happened to agree with their argument at the end more than she did my argument. And that, in large measure, was due to the public figure. They were very successful in arguing my public figure status as a nationally syndicated talk radio host. And as a result of that, I had a little bit higher bar to climb. I could have appealed this. Absolutely. And I wanted to, believe me. This is something that the Supreme Court needs to look at. However, that would have taken years and a shit ton of money that I was not willing to spend at that point. And I was satisfied with the fact that, we have some precedent there now, and now we know what we need to do, and it's legislative. And that's what has to happen. So we have to work with our legislators to fix some of this stuff. And, I'm in the process of trying to do that. And as that unfolds, I'll be the first one to let you know, guys.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But yeah, that was fun. And that was the first time I'd been able to talk about that. I'm glad everybody
There was a
enjoyed
lot
it.
of great speakers. I mean, last year too, but for some reason it felt a little different this year, and I'm not exactly sure if it's just because it was my second year. I kind of already knew what to expect, so I was able to kind of sit down and just really take it in this time. But no, it was great.
Well,
I love going to
you were more
GRPC.
relaxed. Guys, Kerrie gets really nervous when she has to public speak, and she doesn't realize that her nervousness is what gives her her speaking ability. It's hard for you to understand that, but your natural, your ability to be nervous and understand that you are. Okay, and guys, if you don't believe me, just go watch her speech. It's just Google Gun Rights Policy Conference Saturday session, and you'll see me introduce her. And by the way, she did a great job singing the national anthem.
Oh, that was so much fun.
And I know how scared
absolutely-
you were. The hug I gave you was for medicinal purposes because you were terrified, and you did such a great job.
Well, it's like
it was
it's
very
different because I'm I sing for my town all the time, and but you get on that stage and you're looking out at these people, and you realize that there's some heavy hitters right there staring at me, and I'm like, oh God. But and ultimately when it comes down to it, we're all there for the same mission, and
Yeah.
it's like a family reunion. So I'm hoping next year I get the opportunity to get back on that stage and speak and sing again, and
Well, I know a guy, and I can tell you affirmatively that you will. Okay.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to cut this off. Believe it or not, I have a show to prepare for today. Paul Markle, student of the gun, is going to be joining me right here on all of these social media platforms. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, X, over at riverside.fm, or even at armedamericanradio.com. All those feeds are back up now. So whenever we're live on YouTube, guys, we will also be live on armedamericanradio.com. And there are chats there. We can't keep track. Obviously, I can't keep track of all of those chats while we're live on the air, but we do see them. So comment on that if you'd like to. And I hope you enjoyed. We did a 2.5-hour deal here to kick this off. This is what you're going to have coming, and it's going to be a lot of fun to do. We'll be doing it once a week on Unhinged and Unholstered with
Love it.
Mark Walters. And Kerrie, you were the first guinea pig. Thank you so much. I appreciate
love it. Thank you so much. I
I
appreciate
love
it.
you, baby. You know
Love
that.
you too.
So we will see you soon. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you on Armed American Radio at 6 minutes after 4 p.m. in just a little bit less than 2 hours from now, right on all of these platforms. Thank you for tuning in. And I would love to hear any comments that you have. We'll make sure the cameras and everything. That's why I have the disclaimer up on Unholstered and Unhinged. Testing cameras may flick on and off as testing occurs. We'll do another test in a few days. We'll keep you posted. Check my social media. If you're on Twitter, at AARMark, YouTube.com/Armed American Radio, Facebook.com/Armed American Radio, Rumble at Armed American Radio. It's real easy to do, ladies and gentlemen. That's all you got to do is look it up. And please help us take our social media back. It's very, very important. Subscribe to us at YouTube. Subscribe at Rumble. Join us on Facebook. We've got just shy of 80,000. Facebook keeps pulling members from me instead of adding. It's really remarkable. You know, but we've got roughly 80,000 Facebook fans over there, 100% organic, guys. You're there because you choose to be there. We've never bought any of you. We've never advertised for that, never, and we never will, okay? So help us take the social media back. Like us over there at Armed American Radio on Facebook, and like us, and really follow us over on Twitter and the rest of these social media platforms. It's a big help to us. All right, Kerrie, thanks. Appreciate it. I'll let you get back to work.
Yep. Awesome. Sisters in Arms, awesome. A firearm story. So check my channel out as well. Thank you.
Say that one more time, please.
Sisters in Arms, a firearm story.
There you go.
All right.
Kerrie, we'll have you back soon.
Okay. Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys, for being here. Appreciate it very much.